Today, I want to share with you the role and function of the Real Estate Board and the Commission of Strata Corporation. Before I begin, let me first share with you the history of the Real Estate Board. Dealers and Developers Act and the establishment of the Real Estate Board is the result of several attempts to bring order to the conduct of the real estate business in order to protect members of the public who use the services of real estate dealers and salesmen to purchase property or who contract private land with housing developers. So in 1987, the act was passed, and as such, we have the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act. Now let's look at the functions of the Real Estate Board. The function of the Real Estate Board is to regulate and monitor the practice of real estate, as well as the sale of land through development schemes. Functions of the Real Estate Board are outlined in Section 5 of the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act. In the execution of its function, the board has the power to consider and determine applications for registration as real estate dealers and real estate salesmen, and license and renewals of license to engage in the practice of real estate business as real estate dealers and real estate salesmen, and also to monitor the activities of real estate developers. So each year, each license agent has to renew their license, of course, with the Real Estate Board, and now they also have to do continuous training to ensure that they can meet requirements of all. So I do know a number of persons here today are interested in becoming, getting involved in the real estate business, and also those registering to be developers, land developers. So anyone who wishes to carry out a development scheme must, before commencing such development, apply to the Real Estate Board for registration as a developer. Application must be accompanied by payment of the prescribed fee. He or she must also provide the name, address, location of the scheme, copies of the approved plans, and any other information required. Registration is required where the number of lots into which the land is intended to be subdivided exceed 5, or where the number of units or strata lots exceed 5, or where the person proposing to carry out the development scheme is carrying out development scheme of whatever size in the last 24 months. So anything over 5 lots or 5 strata lots, you must apply to the Real Estate Board. A registered developer is required to renew his or her license registration with the board on April 1 annually, unless he or she is no longer carrying out any development schemes. The board maintains a register of all real estate dealers, salesmen, and developers, approved, of course, by the board. This register also contains other details, including as required under the Real Estate Dealers Developers Act. The register is kept at the office of the board and is available for inspection by the public during office hours. It may also be viewed online. State Board. Now we have the inspectors. The Real Estate Board appoints persons to act as inspectors for the purpose of assisting the board in the discharge of its functions. Inspectors are empowered through the Act to request in writing from any applicant or license holder information as it relates to his or her practice. This also includes information regarding development schemes as the inspector may reasonably require. That inspector may also specify a date within which information should be provided, considering the scope and nature of the information requested. The inspector may also specify by written notice, give directions as to time and place the information should be provided. Inspectors also have the power, where authorized by a warrant issued by the Justice of the Peace, to enter at all reasonable times any premises or place where he has reasonable grounds for believing that such documents may be found, and to examine and take possession of any such documents. Code of Ethics. Specific to its monitoring functions, The board ensures that regulated real estate professionals abide by the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Regulation Code of Ethics. This demands that they conduct their affairs with integrity and honesty. They should also desist from any conduct which can potentially bring the profession into disrepute. Among the legislative as well as general best practice guidelines real estate professionals are expected to follow. 1. Ensuring that the content of advertising published by him or her comply with the requirements of the Act and regulations. This includes the accuracy of the content of the advertisement and include the name, registration, information of the professionals involved, and as much information about the land unit as is practical. So it's important that a developer, when he's going to advertise any property, give what you advertise, that's what you should deliver. That's what should have been approved by the parish council. Registration certificate should be displayed in a conspicuous position in his or her office. Code of Ethics. Dealers must maintain an office used this for real estate dealers, used specifically for practicing real estate. The dealer must display a sign on the outside of his or her building bearing the business name. Dealers and salesmen must report to the board any unprofessional or dishonest conduct of another dealer, salesman, or developer. Dealers and salesmen should never discourage any party to a transaction in which he or she is involved from seeking legal counsel. A professional should never become involved in any conduct which is or could be perceived to be a conflict of interest, such as representing both the purchaser and the vendor in a transaction. Real estate dealer or salesman should never knowingly permit any property under his control to be used unlawfully. The board also owns and operates the Real Estate Training Institute. We call it RETI. The institute provides pre-licensing courses for real estate dealers, salesmen, and property managers. They also provide anti-money laundering training, local land law examination, and of course, continuing professional development. Anti-money laundering proceeds of crime. The board also has regulatory authority and requirement under the proceeds of crime legislative regime. And more specifically, the proceeds of crime, and I said designated non-financial institution, real estate dealers order, which was passed in April 2014, for which the real estate board is a competent authority. These and other pieces of legislation seek to ensure that the risk of money laundering and terrorist funding is mitigated in the industry. International laws such as the Terrorism Prevention Reporting Entities Regulation 2010 mandates international standards for reporting to which Jamaica must comply. Trust account developers. Every registered developer must lodge all deposits received from clients under prepayment contract into a trust account. The trust account is to be maintained with an authorized financial institution. Once the trust account has been established, the developer must report to the real estate board giving full details, including the name of the financial institution and the branch with which the trust account is maintained, and the account number, the name and address of each purchaser under contract, the amount of money received from each purchaser, and the total payment to date into the account. This will allow the board to monitor and exercise better oversight of such monies and offer some amount of protection of purchasers' money. The board interests. The board will also register an interest in the title via a mortgage. The charge protects the purchasers who have paid in the development scheme prior to the development being completed. This charge is lodged in instances where the purchaser's funds have been used in compliance with what is permissible under the Real Estate Dealers and Developers Act. This charge allows the board to protect the purchaser's funds until their contractual obligation has been fulfilled, and in the event the developer is not able to complete the development scheme, we are able to negotiate, protect, and dispose of the property. The board of directors may take the decision to declare a development scheme as failed by virtue of its functions in monitoring the activities of developers and the determination that the unit cannot be completed and handed over. In enforcing the charge, the board may take the necessary steps to take control of the trust account being held for the purchasers and sell the property to allow for refunds to purchasers in the development scheme. Okay. So, as I mentioned to you about the Real Estate Training Institute, let me also share with you now about the Strata Corporation. But just before we go to the Strata Corporation, last thing about the development scheme that I want to point out to each and every one. When developers advertise units or lots for sale, dealers and developers stipulate that the advertisement must clearly clear from whom the approval was the scheme, from whom the approvals for the schemes were obtained, where and when the plans, drawings, and specification, limited time of commencement and completion of the scheme, and of course the location of the land and its physical features. Last but not least, let's discuss now the Commission of Strata Corporation. In 2010, the Commission of Strata Corporation was established under an amendment to the Registration of Strata Titles Act. The CSC shares a CEO, Board of Directors, physical location, certain administrative functions with the Real Estate Board. However, the two entities are separate creatures of statute. Functions of the Commission. The functions of the Commission are to monitor, regulate, and supervise corporations incorporated under the Act, keep a register of such corporations to be known as the Register of Strata Corporations, to facilitate the resolution of disputes, in particular those between a corporation and a proprietor arising from any matter to which the Act relates. D, consider complaints from proprietors that the amount of contribution levied is unreasonable or inequitable. And E, enforce the bylaws. What is a strata unit? In strata corporation, where there is individual ownership of strata lots, as well as shared ownership over common areas. Registration Strata Titles Act identifies the boundaries of a strata lot as the center of the floor, wall, or ceiling between such strata lot. The owner, therefore, has title to the inner section of the unit, while the corporation has a responsibility for the external sections. External sections include roof, common plumbing, common lighting, laundry facilities, and any other amenities that are shared. So, for those persons not clear about the strata unit, let me just quickly say it again. The Act identified boundaries of the strata lot as the center of the floor, wall, or ceiling between such strata lot. The owner therefore has title to the inner sections of the unit, while the corporation has a responsibility for the external sections. Advantages of owning a strata unit. These include owning your own living space while sharing the responsibility of the maintenance of the physical plants and landscape. Secondly, strata corporations usually have facilities such as pools, tennis courts, and security arrangements which have been otherwise too expensive for the individual owner to have or maintain on his or her own. It is therefore important that prospective owners are aware of these arrangements before buying such property. Annual returns. The Commission is also responsible for the collection and review of annual returns from each corporation. The Executive Committee of the corporation is responsible for the filing of annual returns to the Commission within 120 days of the end of the financial year. Annual returns include audited financial statements or a copy of the accounts prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles for the entire financial period just ended. Minutes of general meeting, proof of insurance coverage, or unanimous decision not to insure. This allows the corporation to better monitor the activities, actions, and decisions of the corporation and take corrective measures where necessary. In the interest of time, I will stop here, but I will be willing to answer all your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. James. It's a pity we didn't know all these things long time ago. Just a pity, you know? But
Yes.
information is key. All right, so thank you so much again. And I just want to say big up to all the people. I soon tell you where they're logging in from. But Mr. James, we know your schedule is very busy, so we have a few questions. And as I said, in the interest of time, those that we will not address online, we know that IDS will be in contact with you and we can respond, accordingly. So one of the first questions we got was, how big is a lot? I believe it spoke specifically to when you mentioned the 5-lot criterion. They're asking how big is a lot?
It depends on the development. You have lots 5,000 square feet lots, 6,000. You have quarter-acre lots, you have half-acre lots. So it depends on the type of development that you're doing.
So is there a minimum? Is there a minimum size?
I'd want to say I would not want to go say 4,500 square feet.
Thank you very much. All right. Next question is registration available online? Yes,
you can register online.
Especially with COVID now.
With COVID, yes, indeed.
Online, right. Okay, they're asking again, how long has this entity been established and how far back do the records go?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How long has this entity been established? You're speaking about your entity. And how far back do your records go?
Yes. Okay, so okay, thanks. The real estate. I'm not sure who's that, Peter?
That's not this Peter at all.
We're gonna ask that you mute your microphones. We will have some entertainment later, but not at this point in time. I'm not quite ready to dance again yet, so please mute your microphones. Go ahead, Mr. James.
Yes. 1987.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing.
Yes, and actually we're now looking at amending some of the laws to ensure that we keep everyone in check.
Right. And the final question for you on this medium, and I think it's coming from how far back your records go, because maybe somebody is having an experience. They're saying, why are there so many incomplete schemes and the purchasers are unable to get their deposits back?
I would say if you are aware of purchasers not getting their funds, please don't hesitate to contact the real estate board. Unless you report it, we might not be aware. So it's important that you contact the real estate board. I'll leave the information after this meeting, or during this meeting, I'll send information for the real estate board.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Renay, can I ask a question? Yes, just towards the end of your presentation, you mentioned something about strata. I'm not certain if I got the correct terminology. Did you say strata? What
Yes.
I wanted to know is this strata similar to gated communities?
No. So strata is like an apartment.
Okay.
And the gated community is like a townhouse. So we're actually looking now that it should be going to the parliament to also look at the gated communities. Okay.
Okay. Thank
can
you
I
so
just quickly share some information with you?
Gated community.
Oh, sorry.
Can you just 1 second? We're going to ask that you direct all questions through the chat and we will address them. So you can go ahead and finish your point, Mr. James.
Yes, I just want to leave the information for the Real Estate Board and Strata Corporation for their website, www.reb.gov.jm, or a contact number, 926-9748-9.
I choose ideas because they bring our hearts back. Hearts back home, the place I know, the place I go. My heart's back.